All right, so because I didn't have the engine hoist anymore, and I wasn't really able to get this up on a engine stand, I basically tore it apart on the ground. I cannot get the flywheel off, but I'm not 100% sure, but I plan on getting the another flywheel, even another clutch, probably just the whole kit. We may take off this gear, and it's the intake gear, but the K20 came with that. It was just a mod for the K24. We don't need this water part. We'll have to get a new one. Like I said, the flywheel, there's this bolt I can't get off. The head's stripped. Probably have to weld something on it and everything. But everything else is off that I need. I may need these, so we'll go ahead and take those off because I almost forgot about those. But yeah, we'll be able to kind of start putting the K20 together. I've just kind of transferred all the, I don't think I'm going to need a front case, but I definitely will need the oil pump, the timing chain stuff. We'll get a new valve cover gasket and stuff like that. Alright, so I think for now, put y'all right here. We'll get our engine stand set up, and we'll get our K20 block on it. We'll wipe her down with some automatic transmission fluid, and I guess we'll try to start getting it put together. Almost kind of lost on where to even start, just because it's been so freaking long. I think I got a couple other videos I think I was gonna upload, but I may just jump straight to this video rather than uploading year-old videos and stuff. So I don't know. You'll either see this one here. Today's July the 29th. You'll either see it here in the next week or so, or it might be like November before you see it. I don't know. But yeah, let's go ahead and get our engine stand down here. Oh, good news is, if y'all don't know from a past video, I broke my collarbone in about 4 places, so about 100% medically released today. I mean, I've kind of been already doing stuff before then, but for sure 100% medically released today. So still kind of bothers me a little bit here and there. I think it's, from what I understood, just mainly muscles and stuff that still aren't, what do you call it, really set up or back to normal. Whether they will be or not, I don't know. I've got tendons that roll over to here and stuff that bother me, and it's just a daddy long leg. Okay, now I gotta find something to attach our block to. Oh no, probably need to get to wiping our 2J down. It's not good. Starting to get some rust on the outside. We'll have to flip her around and stuff, wipe her down. Uh-oh. I hope there ain't nothing down in there. Kobe. Kind of got stuck between the door and the trash can. Alright, let's see. What is the back? This is the back. The starter goes here. So we need to find some bolts that go in there. About that. About that. I'm gonna put y'all on pause for a second. Alrighty, we've got our engine on the engine stand. Now, all I've got is plastic gauge. Ideally, you want to truly mark all these out with a good dial and 4 gauge and all that, whatever junk. Alright, so I'm putting the bottom crank bearings in. Obviously you want to put them where they're facing. There's a little tang that's sticking up, and you'll put it with the if I can get y'all off this table, you put it with this tang. So the tang with the little notch, and then this little hole will line up with that. Let's sit down for just a second here. Let's see, you don't want to go flat in there. Alrighty. Now we need assembly lube, which is somewhere. Now I'll tell you what I'm really annoyed about is there's supposed to be oil squirters here, 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 and the machine shop took them out to clean them, and I'm almost 100% positive that they did not give them back to me. Or I took them out and set them somewhere and lost them. But I'm almost positive they took them out. Actually, I don't want to do this dry, or I don't want to put that in there, because you're supposed to do this dry to check for your plastic gauge. Oh, I almost didn't put in the bearings. That would have been bad. Once again, just match up your tangs, whatever, however they pronounce them. Don't ask me to spell it or use it in a sentence. try to remove some of this while I'm here. Obviously, I'm going to do this really good before I truly put the engine back together. Alrighty. Alright, y'all. So, where we left off is these plugs. These are for your, what do you call it? Oil squirters. And, since I've got aftermarket pistons and machine shop still has, or apparently took them out, and that was probably a couple years ago or a year ago at least. So who knows where they are. Wherever the heck I just put them, I set them down here. They are we installing these. You use red Loctite and torque them to 8 foot-pounds. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is put Loctite on them and get them hand threaded, and then we'll torque them down. Probably ought to find out what size we need. Since most torque wrenches, don't really go that low unless you got some tiny torque wrench. We're just gonna have to hand tighten them. So we're gonna put red Loctite, stick it in here. Try not to get the Loctite all over everything else. Keep it on the threads. Now, from what I've heard is if you're running regular pistons, you don't want to do this. You want to leave them the oil squirters in. If you are running aftermarket pistons, you can still leave the oil squirters in. You just might have to bend them a little bit, but you don't necessarily have to run them. I guess apparently running them causes lower oil pressure, or can cause lower oil pressure. So I should have a little bit higher because of not having them in, but the biggest thing is just keeping the just having something there, whether it's oil squirter or not. And then of course I have aftermarket pistons. All right, those are in. Let's clean our block because it's been a minute, roughly probably a week. You always want to clean this stuff off beforehand. I just see some other little spots as putting those things in to make sure it's clean. All right, let's grab our crank. Actually, now there's a really precise way to do this. Am I doing it the precise way? No. Am I risking stuff by not doing it the precise way? Yeah. And what I mean is, you get all these tools and you measure instead of using plastic gauge like I did. You supposed to measure the thrust, I guess, back and forth and a bunch of that stuff with a bunch of tools. I don't own such fancy tools. So yeah. Alrighty, so now we also want to put assembly lube here and here. Where our bearings are gonna rub. We've got assembly lube on the bearings and the thrust washers. Now we're going to add, if you have Honda Bond, use Honda Bond. If you have Permatex, use Permatex. You have Toyota's FIPG, whatever, use it. Well, we were going to use this. Apparently they don't want to cooperate now. I swear if this hits keeps hitting hard spots, we're about to. All right, let's try this again. Our main girdle's clean. Pick it up and set her down. And if y'all want to know the part number for these, it is 9006 PNA 003. They are the, I guess you could call them the main cat bolts, or main girdle bolts, whatever you want to call them. Alright, so this is going to take a while. I'm doing the top ring on just piston 1. I've already done the bottom ring, which is, we're going to 73 thou. I didn't do well in point decimal crap. And then the top's got to go to 70, and I can't even hit 30 in this yet. So we got a while. Alright, so redid some math and everything, and glad I kind of stopped. I did have to order 1 rings pack, but hey, it's a lesson learned. Basically, you will take your bore size, which mine's 86.5, and then you divide that by 25.4, and that gives you your bore size in inches, which mine was like 3.4055, and then you times that by whatever your specs are. Mine was based off this sheet here is 0.0070 for the top ring and 0.0073 for the second ring, which for the top ring gave me 20.024 for the top one, and 0.025 if you're rounding to whole numbers, or numbers up, because it's like 0.248 something and 0.238 something. So anyways, file them down. You know, you put them in whichever cylinder you're working for on that piston. Push them down to about this cylinder or the piston to about here, and then you keep checking them. And if you need to file it, you just give it maybe a couple of turns, put it back in here, check it, and keep doing that until you get them all. So I've done all of mine. I've got all of them assorted with the appropriate piston. Well, if I can get y'all off here, this magnet's like strong as hell. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how I've done them. You just get this off of Amazon. Piston ring grinder. We'll set it over here for now. Next thing we're going to start doing is trying to put the pistons together. So we've got our rods, and since we don't need the piston ring filer anymore, I'm going to take these screws out of the table that I was using to hold it down, so it won't slide all over the place. Move our 2JZ back over, which we need to start getting some work done on it so it doesn't just rust sitting down here, and yeah, we have to bore it again. But that's where you all come into play. So like, comment, and subscribe to help me you know, push out to more viewers. So these are just eagle rods. They're ARP 2000 bolts, I think. Here's the part number. Now, if you had a bore gauge and dial and all that stuff, you would do the check the crank, check this, and get your clearance and everything. I don't. I had a machine shop do it, so I know what type of bearings I need. But yeah, I've got those. But you can also use plastic gauge, which is another way of doing it. But once again, I have a machine shop here. I checked their work on the 2JZ for bearings as far as stuff goes. I know there's ways they can make mistakes, but so far they've been good to me. So we'll take this number 1. Get our whatever rings, I can't even remember what the thing's called now. Our clips, whatever. And I have heard that these are very pain in the butt, so probably should wear eye protection when you do these. So a pick would work really well for this to help out. I don't have one. What I'm gonna do is sit down here. Got tiny little screwdrivers. I'm gonna see if I can get this in. Or if the battery dies, and I've got to put a new one in before I get the first clip in. Alright, so my cheat code to figuring this out is you'll basically take this, pinch it, and push it down. And I've been putting the end, open end, up towards the top, but I'll pinch it, push it down, and start to lean it over. It'll get stuck in the groove. And then if you have a pick, it's probably your best bet. If not, a very, very dull and small screwdriver. You really don't want to use a screwdriver. And you'll put it in this little hole here, push forward, push down on the pin, and it'll click in place. So it's going to be kind of hard to show y'all, but you'll kind of see. It is very frustrating, so I'll say that. You have to find like the sweet spot on getting this down in there. So I don't know if you can see, it's down in there. I've got my fingers holding the top. Take my, see it clicked out, you take your screwdriver and push it, flip it over, and it'll go in. And it clicked in. Just double check it. Now, I'm probably going to be pain in the butt on this side because I don't think we're going to be able to push that in like we did, but we'll try. So yeah, anyways, give me a moment and see if I can figure the first one out, and I'll show you the next couple. Alright, before we try to do the other side, I'm just going to go ahead and put all the wrist pins in. So what I've done is lube the part of the rod, lube this, each side of the piston where the wrist pin goes. Then take our wrist pin, get it good and lubed up. Take our rod and our piston, put the wrist pin in, and kind of, there it goes. Line her up on the inside. And it's almost like it should go in easy, so you don't want to force it. But it's like the wrist pin has to go, it can't go any like resistance. See, there it went. It's like the rod was binding it up by having too much weight on it, pulling it this way or pushing it up. But you want to push it down in there where it's enough to where you can put that next wrist pin in. So I went ahead and did all those because now I'm going to try to wash my hands and see if that helps putting the wrist pins in, so the clips aren't as, or I mean the circlips, or wrist clips, wrist pin clips, whatever you want to call them, in, so that way they don't keep sliding on my hands. So I'm going to wash my hands, go ahead and change the battery on the camera because you all are about dead, and then we'll try putting those in. Alrighty, so my technique to this, I'm gonna tell y'all it's hard. So if you've not ever done it before, all I can tell you is don't give up. I haven't given up, and I finally got it. Finally found technique. But you know, if you watch a video, everybody's like, oh, you just push one end in and then kind of push it down with thumb. I must have very weak thumbs because I can't get it in that way. But what I am doing is I will take this, stick one end, open end, almost middle ways on the top of the piston, and then I'll push it down as best I can. I'll take this, so backtrack real quick. This open end, wherever your notch is right here, since mine's on this side, what I'll do is I'll put the open end over here. But if it was on this side over here, I would rotate it and put that way. But anyways, I'll put it down in there and I'll start pushing down, and I'll take this tool, my pick, put it in that hole, and then roll over and push down on the circlip, and then get it almost all the way in there, and then kind of push the rest of it in with my hand. It's kind of really hard to show you from way up there, but let's see if I can get here close enough to show y'all. It's probably going to be kind of hard to show with my hands in a way, but so my notch is over here, so I'm going to push this in, end into the groove, push down it's about as much as I can hold it there. Take this clip, or the thing, well, hold on, it's not in the groove there. Alright, there it went in the groove, you heard it clip. Take my pick, grab in that area. It really helps when you have a little more leverage and your stuff's not greasy, but you can see it's not all the way in where I'm at here. And then you would roll it over, obviously keep pressure on it. I was trying to not have pressure on it with my other hand so that way you all could see, but let's see. So pushed it down. And then I've got it to here once again. And just work it in, bam. So we're in. Now, this is in here freely, but not, it doesn't seem as free because I'm using Lucas assembly lube, which is stickier and not as like runny, I guess, as like Permatex Ultra Slick. So I mean, you can see it moves, but it's not like, and it rotates like this, but it's not like flopping back and forth like if I had Ultra Slick or something. So now we're gonna put the piston rings on. So this is piston 1. I'm going to do the O-rings first. There is 3. There's 2 rings which are technically, let's see, they're one's like a scraper ring, the other one's something else. I don't know the technical terms. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. You can teach me those technical terms in the comments. But I don't know them. This is, be honest with you, my first engine build, so we may have some issues. So on the oil rings, I don't see a bump or anything that will indicate that they need to go a certain direction. I just know one goes on, and then this middle one goes on, then you have our second ring, and then first ring. I do know that these are a lot more forgiving. You can kind of just work these on and put them in the holes if I can get them, and just work them around. These are way more flexible. Then I know our second one, we want these to go up like this according to our sheet. They don't need to be down, they need to be up. I'm not worried about how they're angled right this second. We'll fix all that in a minute, but I just want to get them in here. Come on, buddy. Why does it not seem to want to go in there? Let's do this. Okay. So, note to self, put the rigid ring, whatever, in first, then do these. The other one don't really seem to want to go in first, or go in second, so put these in, and then the other ones. So those are in, and now we need our handy dandy tool. So these are the piston ring pliers I got. They're Wiles, or I guess you can look up the number 3350. So there's a ting there, a little notch or whatever, I don't know if you can see it. There's a notch here. I'll make sure they line up. Push down. Make sure they're flush. And of course they will, there, when it popped in, they'll also kind of line themselves up a little bit better as far as back and forth once we go to tighten them. But rotate our crank down. Make sure too that your crank and stuff's clean. I cleaned mine the other day, so won't worry about that. theory, there we go. Alright, so we're supposed to take the lube and put it on there. Some more lube. And then we torque these down to 43 foot-pounds. They are the, I guess, 3/8 ARP 2000. That's what it says on the box. It's what it online says, but I guess it's the bolt size, because the what you call it that you use for the socket size is a 7/16. But I'm not gonna go do a 7/16. I'm gonna do what everything else says it is, because it's a lot of money and I don't want to break it. Because I would, as y'all seen me be fumble fingers and everything else. So yeah, I'm gonna get these torqued down, and then I'm gonna do the other two, the middle two as well. But I'll probably do those two off camera, just simply because battery's about to die. All right, 43. And it doesn't say anything about stages, so I imagine it's just 43. Probably go like 25. There's 24. $43. 43. Let's just double check. $43. $43. $43. Double check. $43. $43. I guess battery was going to die, or acted like it was going to die, but it hasn't, so we'll go ahead and rotate this over and we'll do the other ones. Ugh. once again, plastic gauge, dial, board gauge, all that stuff, what you're supposed to need to do. I plastic gauged these off camera a long time ago. Everything's fine. I also trust my machine shop. They have been spot on. Past couple times I've measured things, but even then people make mistakes. Might not get the same guy that does machining. So plastic gauge or dial on bore. I'm shooting for 5, probably settle at 400 horsepower. If you're going to be like more than that, I would definitely say, if you can't do it yourself, have the machine shop do everything, put it together. Have them dial and bore gauge it and all that stuff, or whatever you call, because you don't want to screw up being off, especially at thousands of horsepower. When I go to do the big super bill, or 2J bill, I am definitely 100% either having them try to do it, which is not as fun, because then I don't get to do it and I don't have a whole lot of pride in it, or getting some gauges, micrometers, I think is what they're actually called, not a dial, but micrometers, and stuff like that for checking everything, because I really want to put a lot of power into that motor. So therefore I know it's going to be cost a lot. That's why I'm not worried about that car right now. I just want to get the RSX running so I have a little fun car, because I like my Camry. I really do. It's got a lot of creature comforts, and I wouldn't give it up, but it's not as fun going around town and just having fun. Alright, let's go 43. Three. 43. 43. 43, and double check. Alright, y'all, so that's going to be all for this video. We got the rings on the pistons on the rods and pistons on the crank. Next video we'll try to get the oil pan in. We'll do the rear main seal, which we actually could probably go ahead and do that now. Don't think there's anything else. No, let's hold off, because I need to get in there and clean some stuff up. Some RTV that kind of got bled over right here and in here, so I'll have to clean that up. So I'll clean that up, do the rear main seal. We'll have to clean this up here. Definitely went a little overboard on RTV. If that stuff leaks, I got some issues, I guess. But anyways, we'll get that done. Get the I think it's windage tray or oil tray or whatever.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick.